Welcome to Beyond the Music, the podcast where we dive into the lives and stories of people who shaped the world of music. I am Karina.
And I am Lena. We're both classically trained singers, and this podcast is our chance to explore the fascinating intersections of music, history, and humanity.
In our previous episode, we discussed women on and off the stage, and today is my turn to do a solo podcast. And I would like to explore the question, what came first, singing, dancing, or instruments?
Ooh, so we are going way, way back. Which is first, the hen or the egg?
That was exactly what inspired this question. So we are going right back. So at first glance, it may sound like a very simple question. But the deeper you explore it, the more complex and fascinating it becomes. So, Lena, what do you think came first? Singing, dancing, or instruments?
I think actually it was instruments because for hunting, so they could communicate through sound.
Well, let's dive into this. So, music has existed for tens of thousands of years, long before written language, long before cities, and long before modern civilization. Yet somehow, human beings across every culture and every continent have always found ways to sing, dance, and create rhythm. Today, we are going to explore where music may have begun, how early humans likely used sound and movement, what archaeology tells us about ancient instruments, and why music became such an important part of human life. We'll also look at the emotional and social role music played in early societies, and how singing, dancing, and instruments eventually evolved into the music we know today. So, Lena, settle in, because we are about to travel back tens of thousands of years to the very beginnings of music itself. So, did singing come first? Many researchers believe that singing likely came first. Why? Because before humans created tools, before they carved bone flutes or stretched animal skin across drums, they already possessed the human voice. The voice is the most natural instrument in existence. Long before structured language fully developed, early humans probably communicated through emotional sounds, cries, calls, chants, humming, and rhythmic vocalizations. Think about how naturally humans still use tone today. Even without words, we can often tell whether someone is happy, afraid, angry, or comforting simply by the sound of their voice. For example, if I'm frustrated, you do a little. Scientists believe that early humans may have used vocal sounds for several reasons: to warn others of danger, to communicate across long distances, to soothe children, to bond socially, to coordinate group activities like hunting, to express emotion. Something we still use to this day. Interestingly, lullabies exist in almost every culture around the world. Some anthropologists believe lullabies may be among the oldest forms of singing in human history. Imagine a mother thousands of years ago softly humming to calm her child. That simple act may represent one of the earliest forms of music. Another theory is that singing evolved from collective chanting. Early humans living in tribes needed cooperation to survive. Singing or chanting together could strengthen unity and synchronization within groups. Even today, we see this in religious ceremonies, national anthems, protest songs, military marching songs, sports chants. There is something deeply powerful about groups of people singing together. Some researchers even compare early human singing to bird calls or animal communication. Birds sing to attract mates, establish territory, and communicate. Humans may have similarly used vocal music to attract partners or strengthen social relationships. And unlike instruments, singing required no technology. Your body itself became the instrument. Another fascinating point is that rhythm and melody may have existed before formal language. Some scientists argue that musical communication actually helped pave the way for spoken language itself. So, if singing did indeed come first, music may not simply be entertainment. It may actually be part of what made us human. Now, let's move to dancing. Some experts argue that rhythm and movement may have developed alongside singing rather than after it. Why? Because rhythm exists naturally within the human body. Think about it. Our heartbeat is rhythmic. Boom, 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 boom. Our footsteps create rhythm. Breathing has a rhythm. Walking, running, clapping, and working all involve repetitive movement. Early humans likely discovered rhythm through movement long before formal instruments existed. Imagine groups of people stomping their feet around a fire, clapping hands, moving together during rituals or celebrations. Sounds very similar to sports events. Dance was likely tied closely to survival, spirituality, and community. Many ancient cultures used dance through religious ceremonies, hunting rituals, celebrations, funerals, seasonal festivals, storytelling, something we still use today. Dance was not simply entertainment, it was communication. In many indigenous cultures around the world, dance remains deeply connected to storytelling, spirituality, ancestry, and identity. Another important aspect is synchronization. Modern science shows that when people move rhythmically together, their brains and bodies actually become more socially connected. Dancing together increases feelings of trust and belonging. That may have been incredibly important for early human survival. Groups that bonded effectively were more likely to survive. There's also evidence that rhythm may have emerged from work itself. For example, rowing boats together, grinding grain, building shelters, marching, farming. Rhythmic movement helps groups coordinate physical tasks more efficiently. Even today, many forms of work songs still exist across cultures. Another fascinating question is whether dance could actually predate singing. Some scholars argue that movement may have been humanity's first artistic expression because physical gestures are instinctive. Babies often move rhythmically before they can speak. So perhaps music did not begin with melody alone. Perhaps it began with movement, or perhaps singing and dancing evolved together so closely that separating them becomes impossible. Now we come to instruments. Unlike singing or dancing, instruments required humans to intentionally create objects that produced sound. And this is where archaeology becomes especially exciting. Some of the oldest known musical instruments ever discovered are bone flutes dating back over 40,000 years. One famous example, I hope I'm saying it right, is the Divje Babe flute. Really hope I said that right. Discovered in Slovenia, although scholars still debate whether it was truly made by humans or naturally formed. Another remarkable discovery comes from Germany, where archaeologists uncovered ancient flutes carved from bird bones and mammoth ivory. These discoveries suggest that humans were intentionally making music very early in history. But before flutes, percussion instruments may have existed. After all, humans could strike rocks, sticks, hollow logs, bones, animal skins. Anything capable of producing rhythm may have become an early instrument. Drums, in particular, likely played a major role in ancient societies. The beat of a drum is deeply primal. Even today, drumming can feel almost instinctive and universal. Some anthropologists believe percussion instruments emerged naturally from dance and movement. If groups were already stomping and clapping rhythmically, eventually someone may have realized, what happens if we strike this object instead? And from that moment, instrumental music began evolving. String instruments came later. Historians believe early string instruments may have evolved from hunting bows. When a bowstring was plucked, it created sound. Over time, humans experimented with pitch and resonance, eventually leading to harps, lyres, and later violins and guitars. Wind instruments also evolved gradually. Humans discovered that blowing through hollow reeds, bones, or shells produced tones. Over thousands of years, instruments became increasingly sophisticated. But at the beginning, instruments were likely simple extensions of rhythm and voice. They enhanced music that already existed. Now, here's a little artistic project you can do in your own home for anyone who's listening. You can take an empty Kleenex box, you can stretch elastics over the hole and then pluck it and see what sound comes out.
It's a guitar!
It is! And it's quite fun and it's interesting. If you put the elastics tighter or looser, it changes the tone. So, why did humans create music? Perhaps the biggest question of all. Why did we create music in the first place? Music is not technically necessary for survival in the same way food, water, or shelter are. Yet every known human culture has music. That tells us something profound. Scientists and historians propose many theories. Music may have strengthened social bonds, helped parents soothe children, increased group cooperation, supported religious or spiritual practices, helped humans remember stories and information, played a role in courtship and attraction, provided emotional release. Some researchers even believe music predates agriculture and organized civilization. That means humans may have been singing and dancing before they built permanent cities. Music also has extraordinary effects on the brain. It activates emotion, memory, movement, and reward systems simultaneously. Few human experiences are as universally emotional as music. A melody can make us cry. A rhythm can make us dance. A song can instantly transport us back to a memory. That emotional power likely existed for ancient humans as well. Music helped people feel connected to each other and to something larger than themselves. And perhaps that is why music survived across thousands of generations. So, what came first? Singing, dancing, or instruments? The truth is that we may never know with complete certainty. Many scholars believe the human voice likely came first because it required no tools. Others argue rhythm and movement were equally important from the very beginning. And instruments eventually emerged as humans experimented with objects capable of producing sound. But perhaps the most beautiful answer is this: music was never just one thing. From the earliest moments of human history, music was likely a combination of voice, rhythm, movement, emotion, and community. Picture early humans gathered around a fire. Someone begins to hum. Others clap in rhythm. Feet begin stomping. Bodies begin moving. Eventually, someone strikes a hollow log. And just like that, music is born. Thousands upon thousands of years later, that same human instinct still exists. Whether we are listening to an orchestra, singing in a choir, dancing at a concert, or simply humming to ourselves, we are participating in something ancient, something deeply human. And I think, in conclusion, music keeps us together and is the ultimate language across all communities and all cultures. I hope you enjoyed learning about what came first.
The hen or the egg?
Yes, we still don't know if it was voice, instrument. We'll just never know. But ultimately, it brings us together. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review.
Next time, we'll delve into another fascinating chapter of music history. And until then, keep listening and discovering the stories beyond the music.
See you next time.